Okay, we are ready to rumble. This is sort of a supplemental video for those who are asking a question that maybe not all viewers are going to ask. And I should say, welcome to Screen Gaming. Thank you for dropping by as we explore Claude versus Heroes of the Borderland. Now, today's topic is character creation. Your options in Heroes of the Borderland are limited because Heroes of the Borderland has kind of a, I think, brilliant system of making characters that's very, very limited, but it gets you up and running quickly, especially for like a cleric, because a cleric can prepare any cleric spell at first level. That's absolutely overwhelming to a new player. So, Heroes of the Borderland, for example, for cleric, just says these six. These six are your choice, almost as if it was a wizard spell book. You can pick four to prepare every day, and you can cast two. So, from that mechanic, they're identical to wizards, who are going to get six spells in their spell book, but Heroes of the Borderland is going to choose for you, and then you can pick any of the six. And one neat thing from the actual physical copy is that your spell book is a an item card, like a gear card, and you have like a little 8x11 placemat for each, fighter, warrior, cleric, rogue, and for wizard, what it does is it says, like, if you have no spells prepared, stack all of your six spells under the spell book card. When you prepare four of those six, put those four on top of the spellbook card and leave the two you have unprepared below it. There are lots of neat little hacks like that in this. Um, so the question is, how do you get them into Foundry? Because they're very specific. And it takes a little bit of uh, reverse engineering, I'll call it. Because your fighter, none of your characters have stats. They just have the stat bonuses, which is perfectly fine since they're not going to change dramatically. Um, and I should mention for the physical product, when your fighter becomes level 2, you simply flip over your level 1 fighter playmat and it's got the level 2. And then there is a separate fighter card, a second fighter card in the box that has level 3 on both sides. On one side, it has level 3 with specialization A, and you flip it over and it has level 3 with specialization B. So that's your choice. And the same goes for Wizard, Cleric, and Rogue. Uh, for example, Cleric, I think there's a light domain on one side, and there's a life domain on the other. And those are your two choices. It's absolutely brilliant. Um, but putting them into Foundry, it's going to ask us some questions. And off the top of your head, it's like, I don't know. So we're going to have to look at I've made some photocopies here. So let's go into Claude and let's start with our fighter, right? Create actor. Now, so I'm just going to bump these up. We have how about I hit edit? And the fighter's name was Harbeck. And I'm sorry, Harbeck, I've forgotten your last name. But our sheet says we have a +3 strength. So let's just go ahead and call that a 16. +2 con. We'll call that a 14. Wisdom is -1. We'll call that an 8. Dex is a +1. Call that a 12. Intelligence is +2. Interesting. We'll call that 14. And charisma is 0, so we'll leave that at 10. I'll just click anywhere. Hopefully those excuse me, bond in. So now let's actually skip on to species. We're going to click on Heroes of the Borderland to make sure it reduces it to the 4 we can pick. And we are a dwarf. So here's kind of the first state. Okay, great, great, great. We get stuff. Well, that worked pretty well. And now we have the soldier background. Again, limited to Heroes of the Borderland. And we're going to drag over soldier. Uh, mhm. So that did not do anything too crazy. So fighter was not that bad. I'm going to close this. I'm going to close this. I'm going to check some stuff here. Armor class should indeed be 11 with no armor. Hit point max should be 12. Where's our hit points? Well, I don't know why it didn't do that for us. Oh, I know why. Okay. I'm not the brightest fish in the bowl. I think I just made that up. We don't have a class yet. So because we're playing the 2024 edition, we want to select reference document 5.2. We're going to drag over fighter. Please go away. All right. So this is what is important. It factors in our dwarven +1, which is very, very nice. It gives us our advancement. Now this is where I was like, eh, because I didn't have a copy of the sheet in front of me. Um, let's see what our options are here. Now I can look at the sheet and see that intimidation, in my charisma skills, it's +0, +0, +0, +2 for intimidation. So obviously we picked intimidation. I'm going to look for any other outliers, and I see that perception is higher than any other wisdom skill. So that's as simple as that. I just look over everything and I see a bunch of +0s with 1 +2. I look at wisdom, I see a bunch of -1s with a couple +2s. Looks like animal handling should also be in here. Let's see if we can pick up animal handling somehow. Select 3 more weapon proficiencies. Don't we have everything we need? Oh, this is weapon mastery, excuse me. So I know from looking at the chart, I'm going to start with greatsword. So I'm going to pick up greatsword. I know I'm going to start with a short bow, so let me pick up short bow. And so this is sort of a combination of using your template as a cheat sheet. I can see that my starting equipment is chainmail, greatsword, short bow, and lantern. Now I'm going to pick short sword here. This is a tad bit of metagaming. It's actually, where's Marshall? There. I'm going to pick short sword. Just simply because one other character has short sword. You can change these every long rest. Why not have my third weapon mastery be something somebody else has, and I've seen them use. You know, I could have picked dagger, and we're done. And more. We're gonna pick great weapon fighting. Second wind we get 2. Weapon masteries we get 3. And I am a tad confused how we got animal handling at +1. Intimidation I see on my sheet, and as I mentioned, I saw perception on my sheet. Animal handling is juiced to +1 instead of -1, and I don't 100% know why. Uh, hmm. Well, in order to make it match the sheet, I shall go back to editing. We're just going to make this proficient just to make it match the sheet. Don't know why it doesn't, but that's great. So let's add. Stop it, Greg. So let's first add token art. And no, we're going to select a file. Why didn't that work? Oh, I hit select file, not select a file. Uploads to this folder are prohibited because content here may be overwritten during updates. Upload to your assets folder. Well, okay. Thanks for that. Should be in user data, right? All right, so what folder actually is this? Um, so let's go to, it's going to be under shared. That's where I'm using Claude Gaming Heroes. Boy, my brain is not thinking this early in the morning. I don't see fighter at all. I don't see hall. I don't see fighter at all. Why does something go right? Oh, maybe under Gemini tokens. Man, eat caffeine. All right, so let's just duplicate that if I can do it in under an hour. Probably not. Okay, there we go. So I've uploaded our image for both portrait and token now. Let's go to equipment, inventory. And as I said earlier, I can look at the Heroes 8.5 by 11 play sheet and see I need chainmail, a greatsword, a short bow, and a lantern. Ah, fudge. I bet we don't have any items imported. Well, this is, again, a learning process. Let's go to our compendium pack. Here's the Borderland items, import all content. We're going to need spells too. Are spells here? No. I don't know. Pardon me. I don't know why others were uploaded and this was not, but chainmail, lantern, short bow, and oh yeah, sword. Sword would help. And a great sword. And it's kind of nice to have a limited, I mean, we can just mouse scroll through. We don't have to do the search stuff. All right, so let's can we equip it from here? Yeah, let's equip the chainmail. And let's equip the not the lantern. Let's equip the greatsword and the bow as well. Don't know why these death saves are covering up the drop. Let's go ahead and put our greatsword as. Huh, that's unfortunate that the death saves are covering up our stuff. Stuffy stuff. Yep, I don't see a way to get rid of that. To move it. That's a tad annoying. Configure armor equipped. And we can confirm with the card, the equipment card. If I can pull it out real quick, I'll just take a look at it. And they're not in here. Well, that's disturbing. Hope I haven't lost the cards. But I know it's 16. Chainmail allows one dex. It's normally AC 15. And so well, maybe it doesn't allow dex. Anyways, we are. I don't know why this is covering up drop favorite. That's mildly annoying. But we're done with Harbeck, right? It just it can't hurt to. I'm going to leave it alone for right now. Let's go back to our actors. Create a new actor. Player character. Who's up next? Our wizard. So we are going to, let's get rid of that. So let's go ahead and add a species first. And our wizard is an, please. I'm not 100% this morning. So we get a bunch of stuff. And then we're going to add our background. Limited to the here. These are special versions. They don't give you any choices. They just give you stuff so that you don't have to spend an hour and a half picking stuff. So let's pick our sage here. We're going to get our free mage hand and our free message cantrip. That's nice. We're going to get shield. Now the shield on the wizard, I believe, is going to be well, it's from the background card, of course, since we're doing backgrounds. And you'll need to look at the background card, but you get the 2 cantrips that we just did, and you can cast shield once per long rest. That comes from, and it doesn't use your regular spell slots. That comes from the background. So we add that in. excuse me. Now let's look at our stats here. Let's open this up. Strength +0. Con is +1, so we'll put a 12. Wisdom +2. Nice little 14. Sorry. Dex, these are out of the order I'm supposed to be expecting. Constitution is +1. Int is +3. Charisma -1. And how did I not get wisdom? Wisdom is 14. So this should be 0, 1 for con, 2 for dex, which it organizes for space. Wisdom 2, got it. Intelligence 3, got it. Charisma -1, got it. Alrighty. So we now move on to, let's go ahead and do our portraits. This is a Lindra. Upload the portrait, use, switch to the, oh, well, thanks. Mental note, put the portrait in first. So we are done with that. Let's move on to inventory. And go to our items. All she has is a spell book. So Alinda's equipment is going to be spell book and some spell cards. She does not have a weapon. Her armor class should be 12. And it is. Let's pop over to spells here. Again, these come from her background. I don't remember if spells or items. Well, let's go down to our, nope, not settings, compendium. Where are the bleeding spells? Let's import spells from the 2024 and hope this goes well. Did not really want to import 341 spells in 11 folders, but We did. So her spells are Burning Hands and Featherfall Light. Bet you light's a cantrip. Let's keep going. Mage Armor, Magic Missile, so Ray of Frost and Shocking Grasp I know are going to be cantrips like Light. So let's skip over those. And again, I just know this from reading the cards. Sleep and Thunderweave. And then let's back up to cantrips. And we're looking for Light, Ray, and Shocking. Light, Ray of Frost, and Shocking Grasp. All right, so now we have her cantrips and her first level spells. That should be 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Where's the extra one? Oh, shield came from the background. That is great. She has no equipment other than the spell book. I will have to double check what Claude wanted for the spells. Claude's already told me what 4 spells, in addition to the once a day shield, he wanted. In fact, I know Mage Armor. That's neat that it knows it's always prepared versus prepared. So I know, starting off here, the first thing we're going to do is actually cast Mage Armor. Cast it. You have no available spell slots. Okay, so that was something I thought might happen. We're going to need to do a long rest here. But our wizard is done. Let's move on to our rogue. Oh, shoot. Skills. I did not properly do skills. We need to find those hidden ones on the sheet that have a bonus and ask ourselves why. Come on. A Lindra. And it may be best if we don't do last names for the tokens. So looking at skills. Let's look at skills here. What am I screwing up? Oh, there I go. Let's see what we have out of balance here. Why did Sage not ask us? Oh my God, I did it again. You know what might help? A class. I did it again. Not the sharpest tool in the drawer. So it looks like we have chosen 4, all under intelligence: Arcana, History, Nature, Religion. Arcana and History. And it makes sense that we weren't allowed to cast spells since we didn't have a class. So let's see what we have here. Do we have Arcana? Check. Do we have History? Check. Investigation and Nature. Investigation we don't have. And let's change Survival. Did we get survival from Sage? No. Please move away from the checkbox. We're going to change that to nature. Now, why was it? Get out of the way. All right, so I had to cycle through that. Now, perhaps what I should have done is like picked Arcana and Nature, and then something else would have given us history and investigation. But all that matters at the end of the day is we just do this quick double check to make sure she is fine. And again, her only starting card was a spell book. We seem to be done. Hit points should be 7, and they are. And armor class should be 12. Let's see if it'll let us cast mage armor here. You have no available spell slots. Well, let's do the long rest all at once, and then I'll do the mage armor. Someone remind me. So let's do our rogue now, and I'll try to actually remember to pick the rogue class. Our rogue is named Cade. Let's go ahead and do the portrait. Let's go ahead and do the portrait. I wonder if that did the token. Yep, so we're good there. We need to look at the stats. Strength is -1. Constitution is +1. Wisdom is 0, no change. Dex is +3. 16. Intelligence is nice. +2 gives us a 14. Charisma. All right, coming in with charisma. It's +2, so that's a 14. So now we have the stats in. Let's go ahead and do gear. I just want to get gear out of the way. Items, no thank you on spells. It tells us in the bottom left that we have a dagger. So I should switch to inventory. Luckily in Foundry, you can just drag it anywhere and it'll put it in the right category. So we have a dagger. What else do we have? Lantern, leather armor, lantern. Short bow, short sword, thieves tools. Short bow, short sword, thieves tools. Now the beauty of this is that we can attack with our short sword and our dagger. And we're going to get weapon proficiencies where if we hit with the short sword, that'll trigger Vex, which gives advantage on the next roll. Well, all sneak attack needs is advantage. So if we hit with our dagger in the left hand, we're going to do sneak attack damage with it. We can generate our own sneak attack even if no one is around for 100 miles. That is pretty cool in my book. So let's go ahead and equip everything. And our leather armor. Let's go back to this. Let's double check. We have so this is a tad weird. Our unarmored AC would be 10 plus Dex, which is a 13. Leather armor has an AC of 13. Let me find the card. I made all these spells. Leather armor is armor class should be 11 plus Dex. So with our Dex of +3, we should have a 14 armor class. And we do. So that's a little bit janky, at least to my ears, is that completely naked we have a 13. We put on leather armor and it goes skyrocketing to 14. But of course, one point in D&D is a lot. It's effectively 5%, which I guess to me is a lot. So for species, here's the Borderland. We are halfling. We are small. Luck is awesome. Let's see if it'll let me click on luck. When you roll a 1 on the d20 of a d20 test, and notice in this edition, they've removed ability check, attack roll, and the third type of d20 roll, which confused the bejesus out of people. Okay, I want to make a skill check. Well, there's no such thing as a skill check. It's an ability check with a modifier. That kind of blew my mind for a while. But we can re-roll ones, although we must take the second result. But halflings, kind of neat. Mentally stealthy. Anyways, you can read about halflings on your own. We're gonna add a background. Our rogue chose hermit, which I think is kind of awesome. We are a hermit. Once we have that, now before I forget, let's pick a class from 5.2. Everything is always on top of itself, and we will choose rogue. So we're going to get some hit points out of that. We're going to get saving throw proficiencies. Oh, 4 skills. Let's check this out here. Perception, sleight of hand, stealth, investigation, deception. Okay. Let's pause for a second if we can, and look at our mainness here. Do we have a bonus in anything yet? Nope. Okay, so still the confusion of where that 5th is going to come from. But let's just start with what we know here. So perception, check. What are the other ones? Sleight of hand and stealth. Sleight of hand, stealth, investigation, deception. I guess we'll pick that. We get a language. Frustrating. What languages do we already know? Is it going to tell me here? No. So does our elf really not speak elf? Huh. That's it. Our dwarf does not seem to speak dwarf, and our elf does not seem to speak elf. All right, let's actually use something that we had planned here. Google Gemini, I think is best for rules. In Heroes of the Borderlands D&D 5th edition 2024 rules. The rules are simplified for new players. Overall, this is great. However, my rogue gets to pick an optional language. This has made me realize that dwarves, elves, and halflings do not seem to start with any languages. Can you assist? Let's see what Gemini has to say. That part trips people up. Here's exactly why that's happening and how to fix it. You're spot on about the design. Here's how the Borderlands starter set strips away a lot of the dense character creation text to get new players at the table in under 5 minutes. To keep things simple, it assumes every character natively knows common, and it leaves the traditional species language off the quick start rules and class boards entirely. Because of this, Streamlining, it accidentally creates a weird narrative blank spot where a rogue feature tells you to choose a bonus language. If you want to bring back those missing languages without bogging down the new players, you can use the standard player's handbook. So I guess the suggestion is that the rogue's optional language should not be dwarf, elf, halfling, because that's just too confusing. So we want to go with a monster language. All right, that makes sense. I'm on board with that. Hmm. Let's speak Draconic. We have light armor training. We have some. We have simple hand crossbow, rapier, scimitar, short sword, and whip. Now I know, for example, that short sword is a martial weapon, so we may know all simple, but it's giving us a few dabblings from martial, which is nice. And we are proficient with thieves' tools. So this is weapon expertise. Oh, no, it's not. Which is the one we did not pick? Deception? I forgot. No, we did pick deception. Let's start from scratch here. Sleight of hand stealth. Oh, brother, I don't remember where I left off. Son of a gun. I know I got perception. I know I got sleight of hand and stealth. Did I get investigate or deception? Well, investigate ain't an option, so we'll take deception here. Oh, now I remember I did take deception because I thought it wouldn't be offered later. So weapon mastery, we have a short sword and short bow. So one is simple, thank you, short bow, and then one is actually martial. And we get sneak attack and a bunch of stuff. Complete. So now let's go over and see what I've jacked up. All right, so I've jacked up deception. Good Lord, get out of the way of me typing. So let's, it says we have expertise with it because I chose it twice. That's not correct, and we wanted an investigation. So deception, investigation, perception, sleight of hand, stealth. I think we're missing something. Let's go through a perception check, sleight of hand, and stealth check. Investigation check. What is this? All right. And deception. All right, it all worked out. So let's close this. Let's see our AC. Yep, it's 14. Leather armor plus 3 dex. That looks nice. And let's go back to our equipment. Make sure we have all of our stuff ready. And we are done. We're good to go with Rogue. I'm going to pause real quick and be right back. Well, that break made me realize that 3 of the 4 is probably enough. I will do the 4th on my own, and this has been sufficiently long. Thank you for participating.